We now are going with the 8th verse, and it begins, Ke ephitevsen o theos paradison in Eden, kata anatolas. Ephitevsen, a plant, a neophyte, a new plant, phet in the neophyte as a derivative, so let's underline that one there. And then a paradison, we have a paradise. Paradise, that's a direct transliteration, paradison into paradise into English, from Greek into English. But it's also a park or a garden. If you say a park, today everybody's thinking about cars, and if you say a garden, people might necessarily think of a vegetable garden, but it's more of a formal garden or a park type thing that's not cultivated, but it's landscaped. This paradise in Nehemiah 2:8, it talks about a keeper of the, I use the garden there, keeper of the park. In Ecclesiastes 2:5, it mentions the ecclesiastic made, he says, gardens, which is a different word, ketos, where Jesus met in the garden, Gethsemane, and then the paradisos, the park, and the Ecclesiastes made these. And then in Exodus 28:11, it has an interesting quotation here, and it goes down, and it says, "And came the word of the Lord to me, saying, O son of man, take a lamentation over the ruler of Tyre. Say to him, Thus says Adonai the Lord, you are a seal of likeness, full of wisdom, and a crown of beauty. You were, too, in the luxury of the paradise of God." Could this be the beginning, this paradise? You bound on every precious stone. Could it be the angel watching over the one that fell? Because it says sardius and topazion and emerald and carbuncle and sapphire, jasper, silver and gold and amber and agate and amethyst, chrysolite, beryl and onyx, and with gold you filled up your treasuries and your storehouses among you. From which day you were created, and were carefully prepared, with the cherub being anointed by God, and encamping in the tent. Even I put you on the holy mountain of God. You existed among the stones of fire. And you can read all this yourself, but this entity that's talking about was in the paradise. And in Ezekiel 31:8 and 9, it goes more into the paradise. You can read there. And then Luke 23:43, Jesus says when he was on the cross to the thief, "Today you will be with me in paradise." And then in 2 Corinthians 12:4, you can go there and you'll see the paradise. Paul is talking probably about himself being seized into the heavens, into the paradise. So there's a lot here of the paradise. In Anatolas, we have Anatolia, which is Greece today, according to the East. And he put there the man whom he shaped. Ke exanetilen o theos eti ak tis gis pan xylon oreon is oracine. And God caused to rise up yet from the earth every beautiful tree to the sight. Ke kalon is vrosin, and good for food. Ke toxilon tis zois, and meso tu paradisu, and the tree of life in the midst, meso, Mesopotamia between the rivers, meso, middle. The tree of life in the paradise. And we find out about this tree of life in Revelations 2:7, where it says, the one having an ear, hear what the Spirit says to the assemblies. To the one overcoming I will give to him to eat from the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of my God. So the paradise, the tree of life is in the paradise. And then it continues, ke toxilon tu edine gnoston kalu ke poneru. And the tree, the one to know, knowing good and evil. Sounds like two trees to me. There's one of the tree of life, and then the tree of the one to know good and evil, where it has ke toxilon up here, and the tree. If it was just a continuing of the same tree, it wouldn't seem like it would have the article there. In verse 10, potamos they ekporevite ex then potizin ton para thison. And a river goes forth, potamos. We have the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., and it means river, river. The Potomac River goes forth from Eden place to water the paradise, a river. Ekethan aphorizate is tessaras arkas. There it goes and separates into four sources. 2:11. Onoma to eni phison. The name to the one is phison. Onoma, we have onomatopoeia. It's a word that words that use natural sounds, and the onoma, the noma, the name comes from this word. The name to the one is phison. Utos o kiklon pasantin gin evilat. This is the one encircling all the land of Evilat. Kiklon, we have an English derivative right here. Onoma is an English derivative. Potamos was the English derivative. So many of these derivatives. In the land of Evilat, Kiklon, we have a cycle, encircling a cycle. Aki u estin o chrysion. There is where the gold is, a chrysion. And we have the English derivative, a chrysanthemum, the gold flower. Another derivative right there. And then in verse 2:12 it says, to de chrysion tis gis akinis kalon. And the gold of that land is good. And ke aki estin o anthrax ke o lithos o prasinos. And there is the anthrax. We have anthracite, carbuncle, black stone, coal. And the leek-colored stone, lithos, is a stone, lithography, writing on stone, a monolith, a great stone. In verse 13, ke onomato potamo to Vevtero Gaon, the name of the second river, the Vevtero. We have English Deuteronomy, the second law, the Deutero. We'll underline that. Utos o kiklon pasantigin Ethiopias. Verse 14, ke o potamos o tritos tigris, utos o porevo menos katenanti Assyrion. O they potamos o tetartos Euphrates. So these rivers, it's interesting that these rivers are mentioned even before the great flood covered the earth. So this flood that covered the earth, did it change the course of all these rivers, or was it a flood of the area that was known, but yet when it resided, there's still enough of areas to see mountains and things to know that this was still a valley that was for the Tigris River, and the Assyrians were over here, and the Euphrates River was in Mesopotamia. It does give these names here, unless it's after the flood and they're naming what that area was. Could be either one. I believe the first one to be more correct.